Right, so I'm going to talk today about something called overspeed training. So if you're looking for any pictures, pretty pictures or video, I'm afraid you're not going to be lucky. But anyway, overspeed is a means to run faster than your normal top speed. So how can you do that? Well, running downhill, using elasticated bungee cords to pull you along, or even overspeed treadmills. They're all methods of overspeed. Logic says that it should work, i.e., you might be running down a gradient, for example, using that method, so you can reach a higher top speed than you could on the flat. The problem is your sprint biomechanics could be affected, or are very much likely to be affected, so the research says. This shows itself in, for example, a braking foot strike. Instead of the foot coming back smoothly underneath you, it can stop as it hits the track or the ground surface. Also, you can have a longer stride length caused by the downhill gradient, and your upper body posture can change in regard to the angle that you're running down the hill as well. So if you were to do a lot of overspeed training, it could actually negatively affect your actual on the flat sprinting. However, I do know that the Eastern Europeans used to include quite a lot of overspeed work in their training, but this was also connected with on the flat training as well. So immediately they did some overspeed work, downgrade work, they'd go and sprint on the flat. Personally, I think that the main benefits to be gained from overspeed are in terms of firing your nervous system up, your neural system, so that you're able to create faster movements, irrespective of how that ability was caused, i.e. from the downhill condition. It's a bit like if you combine plyometrics and weight training into the same session. One training means can enhance the other one, so therefore you can get a heightened power response. So if you do that enough in your training, you can boost your power output. So paradoxically, overspeed may not increase your top end speed directly, but it could improve your speed and your power through the what's known as potentiation. It's potentiating effects, i.e. its ability to produce greater, more powerful and quicker muscular actions. However, looking back at some research I discovered on overspeed, I found some that used a parachute, came out of Austria and involved 19 elite Austrian sprinters. So that's always good. Rather than using, for example, sports science students, using top athletes is going to create greater potential results, greater positive potential results, and meaningful results. So, cutting a bit of a long story short, the researchers used a parachute to lift the runner, sprinter, when running on the flat out, and running downhill, overspeed. They found that when running on the flat with the parachute, that ground contact time decreased by 5.8% and air time increased by 5.79%. But running velocity, step length and step frequency were no different to normal sprinting. Right, but this is the most important aspect, given what I've said earlier about the negative aspects of downhill running on sprint technique. When the Austrian sprinters sprinted downhill using the parachute, it was found that ground contact time decreased by minus 7.66%, so quicker ground contact, quicker off the floor, and running velocity, air time, step length and step frequency were all positively increased. So I'll break it down. So running velocity increased by 2.72%, air time by 4.92%, step length by 1.98%, and step frequency by 1.05%. So therefore we seem to have a condition whereby we are actually running overspeed. The authors of this report summed up by saying that sprinting with a body weight supporting kite appeared to be a highly specific method to stimulate an advanced performance level, indicated by higher running velocities requiring reduced ground contact times. So basically they are recommending it. So, summing up, we've got a potential means whereby overspeed conditions can actually work. I've yet to see this parachute in operation, this system in operation, but it could be worthwhile looking into. Right, well, hopefully from what I've said, you'll pick up some information about overspeed and go and research some more yourself and do experiment with it every now and again in training perhaps. But as I said, unless you've got the parachute, the main benefits are more likely to be in terms of transference through greater ability to express power rather than greater ability to actually sprint downhill. Hopefully that makes sense, and thank you very much for listening.